everybody, we're going to dive straight into this, and we're going to start off by doing our visual walk around just like we would at the dealership, looking for scratches and chips and stuff like that. I know there's not any on my bike, but we're just going to do it for the sake of doing it and just do the visual walk around. Also look for things like that I know that the models were having issues with, like the seal inside the shock was actually popping out on some of the models. But now that we've done our visual walk around, we're going to go ahead and check our tire depths. And that's looking good. We're going to come up here, and we're going to fire up the dashboard and turn our emergency blinkers on. I do know that my service light is on, and there is a service recall for the daytime running lights, so when they go to do that, I am going to have them turn the light out at the same time. But let's just walk around and check the check the lighting. Go ahead and fire up our high beams. High beams, high beams. Come back around. Check our blinkers, tail lights, tag lights, brake lights. And now that we've done that, I'm going to go ahead and turn this off. And we're going to move on now to putting this thing in the air and checking the brakes, the tire pressure, the chain tension, and waxing the chain, and keep on moving. Now that we got this thing up in the air, we're going to do our lower half visual inspection, like the fork seals, the ABS ring, just kind of peeking at our rotors, looking at our brake pads. I don't know if you guys can see down in there, but the brake pads are actually good. Just doing a visual of the radiators, the other fork seal, rotor, the other brake pads. I don't know if you can see down in there. I'm trying to get this so you guys can see it, but my brake pads are good. I know they are. Looking at the fluids and the brake lines coming back. Looking at the rotor and brake lines. It's a little dirty. I know it is. I'm sorry about that, guys, because you know, I'm going to get it cleaned up after the service or whatever. Just checking the lower half of the bike, looking around. Another thing that I know that people were having an issue with is that bolt right there actually coming loose, and their kickstand coming loose, and the bike's actually tipping over. But now that we've went ahead and did our walk around, go ahead, we're going to check that chain tension. But my tension's good, so we're going to come back and just wax the chain. And I've already took the liberty, but I did take the valve stem caps off. But right now we're going to go ahead and top off our tire pressures, which dealer recommended is 36 pounds, so we'll go ahead and hit that. One thing that's nice about this is once it hits 36 pounds, it automatically shuts off. 33, I don't know if you guys can see that, but 34, 35, and 36. So we'll go ahead and take that off, move on to the back tire, which this one's a lot more easier to get to, but and hit go. It's kind of been cold outside, so I know the pressures are kind of low. But while that's going ahead and up, and I don't know if you guys can see that, but 34, 35, and 36. I like this little compressor more than I like my big one because it's a lot quieter than the rest. But let me go ahead and grab my rear tire stand, and we'll go ahead and wax that chain. Okay, now that I got my rear tire stand, we'll go ahead and jack this up. I am probably going to catch some hate for the stand, but I cannot justify spending $300 on a pit bull stand until I have to remove the rear tire, which isn't anytime soon. But the first thing we're going to do is go ahead and look at our rear brake pads, which I have about 50% pad left. I have noticed that, and anybody that has one of these knows that this thing always has an absurd amount of brake dust around the rim and stuff like that. But now that we checked that, we're going to come around this side, and I don't know if you guys know this, but the 2 pinch bolts here and one of these adjusters just goes on the cam, and you just loosen these two, and then you can adjust your cam to get the chain to tighten and loosen. But my chain tension is actually perfect. So the next thing we're going to do is go ahead, and I like to start with my master link, and we're just going to spray it down. We're not even going to soak it or anything like that, because having too much of it's just uncalled for. So we'll go ahead and do this. And I do like the Maxima chain wax. I have always used this stuff. Tends to fling less than the rest of the stuff, and once it dries, it doesn't seem to fling up on the tail section as much. So. And you don't need a whole ton of this stuff, because to me, it soaks down in the O-rings pretty good, and definitely prevents the chain from rusting. So. Trying not to make a mess here. Also, I like to let this stuff sit for about an hour or two before I ever go ride, and we'll just go ahead and wipe off the bottom access. I hate it when people actually run the bike when they do this, because you take the chance of getting your fingers caught in there. Absolutely despise it when people do that. But now that we got that all waxed up and we've in everything, it is now time to go ahead and yank this entire bike apart so we can move on to topping off the fluids, checking the air filter, and we're going to keep on rolling.
Oh yeah, whoa, look, they can never keep me down, I'm going, and if I ever fail, just know I'll go again. I never quit, cause I know that every loss may lead to another win. I'm going up. I bet when I land, they gon' tell me it's luck again. See that I'm winning, it's harder to watch. I'm setting the stage, you should give me my props. You ain't got no soul, you lacking the spirit. You talk out your neck, I'ma show you I'm with it. I would really hate for you to sit and watch me win again and win again and win again. I know it's probably getting on me and win a synonym. So if I ever win again, it's no I did the minimum. I didn't have to sell my soul. Oh, yeah. Please don't play no games with me. It was never about the fame to me. They needed the best, so they came to me. Whoa. Who the best in this thing? Tell them, yeah, that's me. Tell them who bring the vibe, say, yeah, that's me. Make it flip, make it boom, yeah, that's me.
All right, the next thing we're going to be doing is taking our European coolant and topping off our reservoir. I'm going to take a little funnel, and you can see it's the pink European. I did put it in a water bottle just to make my life a little easier of trying to, hold the flashlight, because you do have to shine the light on the inside to see the coolant level. But I'm gonna go ahead and top that off. Slowly but surely. You just kind of want to put it between the lines, and not all the way to the top of the fill line. But now that I got that, let's go ahead and pull this thing apart, and I'm going to show you how to check the air filter. Okay, now that we let it down, there's your fuel line. But I don't know if you guys can see it. I'm trying to do this the best I can so you guys can see every little thing that I do. But this right here, that all the way up in there, is your air filter. And the thing that we're going to have to take off to get to it is this clip. And we're going to have to remove that. And then that clip right there. And then remove that. And then also, just to be precautious, we are going to be removing the harnesses for the injectors. So let me go hands-free with this, and I'm going to try my best to make it so you guys can see everything I do to get this out of here. Okay, now that I'm hands-free, I did go ahead and take the liberty of removing these from the injectors because there is a metal clip on there and it is kind of a pain in the ass, but we are going to go ahead and tuck that one down in there. And I also removed that one. We're going to move that down in there, and I don't know if you can see it, but we're going to undo that clip right there. And then we're going to go ahead and undo that clip right there. And you see the filter comes loose. Reach down in there. We're going to go ahead and give that a little squeeze. And that pops right on out of there. Next, we're going to do that to the other side. We're going to go in there and give it a little squeeze. And that comes right on out. And now, here comes the tricky part. Because this thing is in here super, super tight. And I don't want to break any of these fuel lines, which scares the crap out of me. See how tight that is? Look how tight that is. Which the whole basket and everything comes out, but you shouldn't have to fight something that much to get it out of there. But am I caught on something? Nope. Nope, see, there it goes. And we're going to go ahead and just checking the filter and popping it off. I mean, I take good care of my bikes. I don't really ride in the rain or anything like that, but you can see the filter is actually pretty clean. So now that I've went ahead and checked that, and you can see all the way down in there that you can even see the steering stem way down in there. But now that I went ahead and checked that, I'm going to go ahead and order a K&N filter for it for the next oil change, or maybe a Spirit filter, not sure yet. Whatever one I get, C's got the better reviews. But let me go ahead and toss this and the basket back in there. So we're going to go ahead and put that back in there. And see how tight that is? This bike is so overly engineered for absolutely no reason. But let me try and squeeze that back in there without breaking anything. Which is absolutely insane to me that they made it this tight. Make sure I got everything out of my way. Like I said, the last thing you want to do is break one of these fuel lines, or you'll really be regretting life. So let's go in long ways and see if I can weasel it sideways once I get it down in there. All right. Is it going to go? Or are you going to give me problems? All right, there we go. Let me try and finagle this around. Like I said, trying to do this the best I can so you guys can see everything that I'm doing. But, and like I said, with these clips, you just kind of squeeze them a little bit and they pop right out of there. So this is going to be the way it goes in there so that it catches like that. So we're going to go ahead and put that back in there. One thing I have learned about this bike is there is absolutely nothing easy about it. So there goes the first one back in there. Push the filter down in there. And try and get it to lock in place so I can... Did I just put that on there backwards? I just sure did. Alrighty. All right, there we go. Back in there. That goes there. And that just goes in that little tab there. Push the filter down in there and go ahead and lock it in place if I can. There we go. And then we're just gonna close that tab in there. See how it locks back down in there, just like that, right there. So let me go ahead and put this other one in, make sure I got it in there right. So, there's one tab, there's two tabs, and go ahead and see how it just latches into place like that and holds the air filter in there. But now that we got that, let's get to the most important part and drain the oil. So now that we got it up in the air, we're gonna go ahead and remove our oil cap. Set that right there for now. And come back around this side. And I don't know if you guys can see it, but your drain bolt is right there, which is a 14 millimeter. We're just gonna go ahead and crack that loose. Take our oil pan, slide right back underneath. Unfortunately, most oil pans are a little high for this, but we're gonna go ahead and take that loose and unscrew it and drain our oil. Well, okay, now that I went ahead and let this drain for a little bit, we're gonna go ahead and slide that out. And I'm gonna go ahead and throw a paper plate under there just to catch the oil drips. And we're gonna go ahead and take that crush washer and throw that in the trash and put a brand new crush washer on there. And I don't know if you can see it, but we're gonna go ahead and put our drain bolt back in. If I can get it to go back in. Try doing it this way. There we go. What is going on here? Well, I can't get it to go back in. There it goes. And we'll go ahead and get that screwed back in. And now that we got it in, I'm gonna go ahead and throw a socket on our ratchet and give it a nice snug. And now that we got that, let me go ahead and clean this up and we'll go ahead and add the oil. All right, guys, I got everything cleaned up and I completely forgot because I was so worried about the mess to change out the filter. We did get a Ducati filter and the O-rings. Usually I buy it in a kit from Ducati Omaha, but we're gonna take some foil. If you guys haven't done this before, we're gonna go ahead and just set that there and kind of make a makeshift funnel so it goes into the pan. Otherwise it'll just pour on top of your exhaust. But now that we got that, let me grab an 8mm socket. So now that I got an 8mm socket, we're gonna go ahead and take these two bolts out right here. Let me go ahead and take those loose. That's one bolt. You can see it's a little itty bitty one. And we're gonna take this bolt here loose, which is a little itty bitty one. So now that we got those two bolts loose, this cover is almost pressed in and nearly impossible to get out. You do need a couple bolts. I will mark the thread pitch and size in the comments when I get to that, but they just pretty much screw right in to where you just took the bolts out from. And so you just screw those right on in there, and it pretty much walks it out, almost like how it works with a rusted on rotor or whatnot on a car. So, oops, wrong size socket. Go ahead and put that back on. So now that we got that, we'll go ahead and take this and start working it back and forth. You don't want to put all your tension on one side, but comes out little by little. One side, one side. And now that it's coming loose. Got that side. I'm trying to do this so you guys can see everything I'm doing. And just work it back and forth. You don't want to put all of it, and there it goes. And you see how it all pours down and goes straight on top of the, it would go straight down on top of the exhaust if you didn't do that. So that's your cap. You can see it does mar up this a little bit, which I can't stand, but it is what it is. So we're going to go ahead and take those back out. And all those little shavings are actually from the case from where you push it out at. So let me clean that up. Next thing we're going to do, we're going to clean that out. And let me grab a couple picks. We'll go ahead and pull our old filter out, which is kind of a pain in the butt, but you can get it out of there. Plug it in. There it goes. All right, we're going to let that drain out. And while we're doing that, we're going to go ahead and pick our O-rings off. I'm going to take that O-ring off and that O-ring off. And got a brand new set of O-rings here. Go ahead and put them back on there. There's that. Slow but surely. All right. So now that we got that off, take a little oil, smear on there, and go ahead and pull your filter completely out. And see, that end with the hole is going to be the one that's going to go furthest down in there. But something I like to do is just kind of take a pick and kind of scoop as much of that oil in there as you can out. I don't want to pour spray brake cleaner in there because I really don't want brake cleaner in the engine, but kind of like a spoon, just kind of get as much of that out of there as you possibly can. I got that as much out as I possibly can. I don't really particularly want to spray brake cleaner in there, but I am going to take a rag, paper towel, and just kind of shove in there and try and scoop out as much as I possibly can. Because ain't nobody wants that old dirty oil. You pay all this money for new fresh oil. You figure they would design this a little bit better, but if anybody's ever watched any of my other videos, you know that if I see a bad design or it's garbage, I'll flat out tell you about it, because I don't like companies that sell you trash. But we're going to go ahead and we're going to take our new filter. We're going to open that up. we're gonna go ahead and, remember, open side, we're gonna take a little dab of oil here, smear on the outside there, squeeze that in there and push it in all the way. Make sure it's in all the way. We're gonna take our cap and we're gonna slowly work that back in. It is kind of a pain in the butt, not gonna lie, because you really, and this is directional, and I just tried putting it in the wrong way. So now you got that, you're gonna just work it in, shove it in, and you take your old bolts and screw them back in. So let me button this up and screw this back in, and we'll go ahead and add the oil. Finally, this is one of my favorite parts. When you get all that done, we're just going to go ahead and take, what is it, 15W50 Ducati oil. Like I said, I got this whole kit from Ducati Omaha. They send you 4 quarts, the crush washer, and the oil filter, and the 2 O-rings. But they do send you 4 quarts, but it does not take the whole 4 quarts, so we're just going to go ahead and add this oil. Quart by quart. I'm going to go ahead and speed this up. And as we do it, we're also going to be watching our little view window here. So let me go ahead and speed this up, and we'll let this thing back down. Okay, since I added 3 quarts of oil, you can see, I don't know if you can see that or not, clear without the reflection, but the oil line is at the top mark, and that's 3 quarts of oil. This bike does take more than 3 quarts, but in order for me to start the bike, I have to reinstall the fuel tank. So let me go ahead and wave my magical snap-on screwdriver here and get this back together so we can start this thing up and top off the oil. All right, everybody, now that I got that topped off, I'm going to take the trip down to the dealership to get this service recall done. But I really do appreciate you guys sticking around. So do me a favor, go down below, hit like and subscribe. It really does help out the channel. But until next time, you guys stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video.